Click the subscribe button and on notification bell icon to get all notifications of my channel.
Hey, what's up you guys, this is Akhilan from AkhilanTech and today I'm going to tell you about the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor which has been launched recently and the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8CX processor which also has been launched recently. So let's get started. The Snapdragon 855 processor is a 7nm build processor. It is an octa-core processor. It has 4 high-performance cores and 4 energy-efficient cores. But Qualcomm this time has gone with a 1 plus 3 plus 4 setup. The 1 core setup is a prime core setup. It has a higher clock speed, that is 2.84 GHz, and it has a lot of cache memory. The other 3 cores are the performance cores. The clocking speed is up to 2.42 GHz, and the other 4 cores are the energy efficient cores. These are at clocking speed of 1.80 GHz. What does this mean is that when there is some single threaded task going on than this, one prime cores run quite quickly and with a lot of cache memory, and the job can be done as fast as possible. And when they are multi-threaded tasks, the other 3 performance cores and the other 4 energy efficient cores gonna take part in the job. And if you go to the GPU, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor is powered by the Adreno 640 GPU. The Qualcomm is calling this GPU as the visual subsystem, and this GPU supports the Vulkan 1.1 API, and this GPU also supports the HDR gaming. And this Snapdragon 855 processor is also having the AI support. It is having the 4th gen on AI engine. It is the ultimate personal assistant for camera, voice and gaming. The Qualcomm is telling that the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor is going to be 3 times better than the previous generation processor, that is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 processor. And this Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor is having the 5G network support, means the 5th generation network support. The Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor is having the Qualcomm Snapdragon X50 modem. First commercial 5G mobile platform is designed by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor. And the Snapdragon 855 processor is also having the multi-frame noise reduction. This software delivers sharp and color photos even in the low light conditions. And the Snapdragon 855 processor is also having the 3D sonic, which ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, which is the in-display fingerprint sensor. You can see so many phones like Vivo V11 and the OnePlus 60 etc. phones are having the in-display fingerprint sensor, but they are not as secure as possible. But if you see the physical fingerprint that is on the back side of your phone, those are the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. The Snapdragon 850 processor supports the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, that is the in-display fingerprint sensor. And the Snapdragon 855 processor is having the Qualcomm Snapdragon X24 LTE modem support, and the maximum download speed is the 2 GB per second, and the maximum upload speed is the 316 MB per second. And the Wi-Fi, if you see the Wi-Fi side, the maximum download speed is the 10 GB per second. And this Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor supports the Bluetooth 5.0, and the speed is up to 2 MB per second, and it also supports NFC. And the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor supports USB Type-C and USB 3.1. And if you see the camera side, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor, if you want to keep the dual camera, you can keep up to 20 megapixel, and if you want to keep only single camera, it is up to 32 megapixel. And the slow motion video is also been added in the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor, and you can record at 720p quality, that is HD quality at 480 frames per second. And the display also supports the 4K HDR support. This is the first mobile processor which supports the 4K HDR. And if you see the charging side, it supports the Qualcomm Quick Charge 4 Plus technology, and it supports LPDDR4X RAM. And now we're going to compare the Snapdragon 855 processor with the Snapdragon 845 processor. We're going to see what are the changes done in this Snapdragon 855 processor. And first, if you see the CPU clocking speed, the Snapdragon 845 processor is having the 2.80 GHz, but the Snapdragon 855 processor is having the 2.84 GHz clocking speed. There is a slight increase in the clocking speed, but you cannot find huge difference. And if you see the CPU cores, the Snapdragon 845 processor is having the Cryo 385 cores. They are having 8 cores, and the Snapdragon 855 processor is having the Cryo 485 cores, and they are 8 cores. And if you see the modem, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 processor is having the Qualcomm Snapdragon X20 LTE modem, but the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor is having the Qualcomm Snapdragon X24 modem. The download speed and upload speed, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor is having the 2 GB per second download speed and 316 megabytes per second upload speed. But the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 processor is having the 1.2 gigabytes per second download speed and 150 megabytes per second upload speed. And the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor is supporting the 4K Ultra HDR at 60 frames per second. But the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 processor is having the 4K HDR support but at 30 frames per second. And there is a lot change in the GPU. If you see the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 processor, it is having the Adreno 630 GPU, but the latest processor, that is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor, is having the Adreno 640 GPU. You can find a difference in the gaming when you are playing games in the mobile. And if you see the camera side, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 processor will only support 16 megapixel dual camera and 32 megapixel single camera. But the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor supports 20 megapixel dual camera and 32 megapixel single camera. This is about the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor. Now we're gonna see the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8CX processor. It is the latest processor released by the Qualcomm company. It is used for PCs and laptops platform. The Qualcomm Snapdragon 8CX processor for 7nm processor for PCs and laptops platform. The Snapdragon 8CX is the largest processor the company has ever made, with 8 custom processing cores that make up the Cryo 495 CPU and 4 high-performance ARM Cortex A76 cores and 4 low-power ARM Cortex A55 cores. This is about the Snapdragon 8CX processor. If you find this video is informative, hit that like button and share it to your friends as much as possible. And if you have any doubts, comment it in the comment box below. I will definitely answer your questions. Do subscribe my channel by clicking the AkhilanTech logo and clicking subscribe button. This is Akhilan from AkhilanTech signing off. Cheers.